All praises, all praises, all praises to the heavenly, holy, almighty creator of infinity, eternity, the universe, and all there is. This is Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit. Hello, family. Once again, we reconvene so that we may commit to our spiritual and intellectual increase. And so today we will be visiting an article in response to some of the propaganda and the news media giving these detrimental terms to some groups. So we will be getting some insight and expanding our understanding, one of propaganda, one of discernment of truth, as we evaluate the elements of our society. All praises. And to the scattered tribes of the house of Israel, wherever you may sojourn on planet Earth, my continuous petitions and prayer for your peace, safety, serenity, solace, and harmony, as well as my brothers and sisters of the world. And so, family, as we now convene in this wonderful convocation and congregation, we shall now start our examination on super predators of hate. And so, in light of some recent activity of a violent nature and news reporting, we will start to examine domestic terrorism, hate groups. We've heard of the white nationalist groups. We now have an association of so-called Black Hebrew Israelites, and we have constant assaults or acts of so-called anti-Semitic behavior. And so here at Revelations.Unveiled. Detroit, we did a review of the definition of anti-Semitic, and we came to a spiritual expansion where the term is actually applicable to the scattered tribes of the children of the covenant brought here to the shores of America in captivity and their descendants thereof. And so we shall look at the terms included in this article of anti-Semitism, of white supremacy, of hate group, hatred, and race war. And so we shall now delve into the darkness of the mindsets of insanity initiated and instigated by supreme hatred and ethnic superiority. Hunting black men to start a race war. James Harris Jackson went to New York with a Roman sword and an apocalyptic ideology. He stabbed a stranger in the back and left him to die. The man stumbled into the police precinct in Hell's Kitchen late one night, staggering toward a tall reception desk painted black and blue. Before the desk officer could ask the man his business, he collapsed on a bench, dripping blood. When officers pulled up his shirt, they found a series of deep stab wounds in his dark skin. As they struggled to stem the bleeding, they asked the man who had attacked him, but he could only groan. He died minutes later at a Manhattan hospital without saying a word. Police scrambled to make sense of the March 20, 2017 slaying. A witness had seen the victim tussling with someone on the street half a block away. Surveillance footage showed a young white man with a black coat and neatly parted blonde hair fleeing the scene. but the motive was a mystery. And by the following evening, police still had no leads on the suspect, not even a name. As 24 officers gathered in Times Square, 9 blocks from the crime scene, at midnight to continue the search, a solitary figure suddenly emerged from the streams of tourists. His flaxen hair was carefully combed. "I am the guy you're looking for," James Harris Jackson said, calmly slipping off his black jacket and setting it down in front of an officer. "There are knives in that coat." For the next 5 hours, in a videotape interview that would later be entered in the court record, Jackson proudly told detectives how he had stabbed Timothy Kaufman in the back with a Roman-style short sword simply because he was black. Kaufman, the 28-year-old Army veteran, explained, was practice for a bigger attack in which Jackson aimed to kill as many black men with white women as he could. "I was looking to get black men scared and have them do reciprocal attacks," he said, and to inspire white men to do similar things. If the detectives really wanted to understand him, Jackson said, they should read the manifesto he had planned on sending to the media. "The race world war starts today," it began. "God has ordered us to eliminate the Negro races from the face of the earth for the good of all mankind." All right, family, so I'm going to interject right there. I understand the brother. Well, so to speak, brother. This man has recognized the recessiveness, the powerlessness, the weakness of his genetic makeup and the makeup of his fellow man. And here's the trick. You have mankind and you have humankind. And humankind are all of the people of the planet who have color. And mankind are all of the people of the planet without color. And so he has spoken to eliminate the Negro races, the so-called black races, the supreme dominant genetic order from the face of the earth for all the good of the non-melanated, non-pigmented, sun-struck and destroyed people. Very insightful. The numbers to win it. The idea of race war is older than the United States, fueling the brutal treatment of Native Americans and enslaved Africans by white colonists fearful of uprisings. It has continued to inspire violence ever since, from decades of Ku Klux Klan lynchings to the massacre of 9 black churchgoers 4 years ago in Charleston, South Carolina. It's part of the intellectual milieu of hardcore white supremacy. This notion that there will be, maybe, or should be some sort of future race war, stated Mark Pitcavage, an expert on right-wing extremism at the Anti-Defamation League. It stems from a basic white supremacist belief that whites are in imminent danger of being wiped out. Some adherents prepare for what they see as an inevitable cataclysm by stockpiling weapons and training for combat. Others go further, actively trying to spark racial strife, while whites are still in the majority. The Department of Homeland Security now considers white supremacist violence as great a threat to the country as the Islamic State or Al-Qaeda, according to a report unveiled in September. 50 years ago, California cult leader Charles Manson directed his followers to commit murder to start a race war, or helter-skelter, as he called it. In the late 1970s and early 80s, white supremacist Joseph Paul Franklin committed a series of fatal shootings against blacks, Jews, Jewish people, and interracial couples around the country for the same reason. Franklin's murderous rampage inspired neo-Nazi leader William Pierce to pen The Turner Diaries, an apocalyptic novel of revolutionary racial annihilation. The Turner Diaries has inspired generations of white supremacists, including the Order, a terrorist group that robbed banks, bombed a theater and a synagogue, and killed a Jewish radio host in the 1980s. Everything the Order did was prepping for the race war or kicking it off, said Arno Michaelis, a former skinhead leader who is now a peace activist. He first encountered the idea of Rahowa, or racial holy war, as a teen through neo-Nazi punk rock music. Others are radicalized in prison, where the Aryan Brotherhood and other white power groups flourish. But the internet, with its YouTube videos, social media memes, podcasts, and chat rooms, have made it vastly easier for extremists of all types to spread their messages of hate. Jihadists were first to exploit social media on a large scale, but white nationalists were very close behind them, said J.M. Berger, author of the book Extremism. Websites such as the Daily Stormer, which has a timer counting down to when whites will supposedly be a minority in the United States, stoke a sense of crisis, added Keegan Hanks, an analyst for the Southern Poverty Law Center.